Next couple of days, Arlene is expected to weaken as it continues to move further south, further and further away from the U.S. and from North Carolina. No impact to North Carolina, obviously, but it has completed the loop. It was moving north and turned around and has now made a full circle, though not a very even circle, as it moves down towards Cuba. Still close enough to impact some tropical downpours across Florida, and then as it heads towards Cuba, even as it weakens past a depression to just a remnant tropical wave, it's still going to have some rain and a little bit of wind associated if it curves back up towards southern Florida as it gets picked up by a different storm system. Most of the core still well out over the Gulf of Mexico, but some bands of heavy rain across pretty much all of Florida. For us, it was another day of spotty showers, but not as many as the past few days. And over the next couple of days, I think we do stay dry, but there's still a small chance with a front coming in late Saturday. Not much left for Topsail Island, maybe a couple downpours inland, and you have one little shower there between Tarboro and Rocky Mount. That'll head down towards Highway 43, kind of missing Sharpsburg, but maybe moving through Elm City if it holds together. We're at 81 in Rocky Mount, 81 in Greenville, 82 in Kinston. As expected, today was a little bit warmer, and we'll see that warming trend continue into our Saturday. No 90s though, and so we've moved up another spot to 7th latest, first 90-degree day for New Bern, still at 5th for Greenville. And over the next few days, both for New Bern and Greenville will continue to climb this list and could be top 3 in just a couple days if we make it through the weekend. Really, Saturday is the only chance we could hit 90, but I think we stay in the mid-80s, especially with fog expected overnight. Winds too high for fog right now, but they will go calm tonight, especially inland, and that's where we'll start to see the fog develop. We already have dense fog advisories for the Sounds, the Outer Banks. Going to be pretty thick, pretty early. I think by midnight, some of that fog will already be drifting up towards the coast. So expect those dense fog advisories to spread inward through the overnight. Something else to watch this weekend if you're headed to the coast, especially up the Neuse River. A little bit of coastal flooding. Not much, but it's really those consistently strong northeast winds will increase even more Saturday into Sunday, but also higher tide cycle. That could lead to 1 to 2 feet of inundation, even towards Atlantic, Cedar Island, and then across parts of the Outer Banks as well. From Hatteras Island up towards Kitty Hawk, Highway 12 travel should be fine, but sometimes you may get a little bit of a travel disruption if they have to pick up some sand from the wind, or maybe if there is a little bit of overwash, they have to kind of clean the road a little bit. Looking out from Morehead City towards the bridge to Atlantic Beach, things looking pretty nice to end the day. Temperatures over the next few days, warm tomorrow and then kind of cooling down thanks to the front on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday start to warm back up, and then notice maybe a couple more days closer to the 70s than 80s, but still pretty average for this time of year. And humidity, maybe not quite as average. Still expecting that to stay comfortable. Maybe feeling it a little bit tomorrow with the fog, but once that fog's out of here by probably 9 to 10 at the latest for most, but some spots could see fog linger to about lunchtime. So just be careful in the morning, fog lights, and don't use your high beams, and drive slower than normal if the fog is dense. As we head through the rest of the 8-day forecast, did do a first alert weather day tomorrow morning for that fog. Know it's the weekend. A lot of people may be getting an early start headed to the coast or headed somewhere else. Just be aware that that's going to slow you down a little bit. And then that first alert weather day probably not going to be a full day, just a few hours Saturday morning. And the 8-day forecast not looking too bad. Definitely not what you'd expect for June, but early June can be this cold. It's really the fact that we just still have not hit the 90s. Yeah.